Welcome to Building the Future. I'm your host, Kevin Horick. You can check out new episodes of the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. If you missed an episode or want to get more information about the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Michael McAleenan, founder at Venue VIking. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you have a bunch of stuff going on, and it's quite impressive. But maybe before we kind of cover what you're working on, let's get into your background and kind of where you grew up.
Yeah, of course. So I was raised in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, a small little town on the East Coast.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a small little town on the East Coast, and it's a trap over there because it's so beautiful, and you could literally just live on the beach every day and work in a restaurant or something like that. But I had to get out, so I moved over to the Tampa Bay area. That's where I went to school over there. I graduated with a degree in marketing, and also went to
That's cool. So what made you want to go into marketing, I guess?
Yeah, I always had a strong background in sales. I like talking to people, and as long as it was a product that I was passionate about, I always felt like I could communicate it, very well.
Sure. So I'm curious then, you got a degree in marketing. What kind of companies did you work at coming out of school, or did you kind of start your own venture? Yeah,
so I worked with some companies. I started out with an internship at Walker Brands, which was a branding company.
Okay.
Learning all, the ins and outs of branding and marketing. I did a second internship through a restaurant, Seasons 52. I'm sure you've probably heard of it.
Yeah.
As a sales manager for private events. So I started that, and I ended up really liking it. I was in the hospitality industry, all through school, bartending, serving.
Sure.
And when I did this internship and started working on these private events, I really, had a passion for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide to kind of go out on your own and do your kind of own venture?
Yeah. So I had my internship, and then I ended up being hired on by Darden, Eddie V's Prime Seafood, as their sales manager. I opened up the first Eddie V's since Darden acquired the brand in Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Helped them launch, and from there I also helped a couple other restaurants develop their marketing and sales for private events. And I always had this way about me, and people always loved the way I handled myself when they were trying to book an event with me, because I was very streamlined, to the point.
Okay.
And that's what people liked working about me. And I was like, well, I can do this. I can create this same process that I, give to everybody, that everybody loves, in a software. And that's kind of where Venue VIking came into play.
Okay. So you basically took a need that you saw personally and just kind of being in the industry, and then decided to turn it into your own business?
Right. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So what was broken about the event booking space, and why was what you did so valuable?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just frustrating. It was frustrating for myself. It was also frustrating for the people booking events. It was a very fragmented process.
Okay.
A lot of times people, had to call in, and either, someone answered or someone didn't answer. They couldn't find the information online through the website.
Sure.
There's all these little problems that people, came in front of. And the reason, going back to why people liked working with me, I just felt like I was always very responsive, very, quick to reply to emails and answer phone calls. But then even just from, booking the event, once they got in communication with me, it was like, you had to see if the space was available, quote them a minimum or a fee,
Sure.
Develop their menus, and all these different things that really you didn't need me to do. You just needed a software that could do it for you.
Okay. Almost like step-by-step process. Because somebody like myself, if I'm trying to book an event and I'm looking for a venue, I don't really know what's even all involved, right? So basically, walk me through what exactly you guys do when I come to the site, and then kind of what do I do from there?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Venue VIking is a listing service. So
Okay.
You can literally find the venues online through our site. But then secondly, we are a event management and booking software. And what we did is we created the first the first client-facing booking software. So, and how we did that is we allowed the venue owner and manager to customize the exact steps that they need to book their space out. So it's customizable to any venue. So if it was a smaller venue with only one private space for 10 people, their process might be very minimal. Could be 3 steps and then they're done. And then you go into like a wedding or a bigger type of event with more space, or a bigger venue with more spaces and things like that. They could have a 15-step process, to book the space. But you can do everything from selecting your menus to selecting AV and rentals if you need to do that. So it's really up to the venue how they want to book their venue.
Very cool. So if I'm a venue, how do I kind of go about setting up with you guys?
So basically you can find us online at www.venueviking.com. We've been doing some, small marketing pushes into the cities that we have existing venues already in our listing software.
Okay.
So that was kind of the idea, was to build the listing portion and get venues involved with Venue Viking before it was even, really a thing, and get them acclimated to the name and what we do. And now we can go back and target all these venues that are already a part of our site.
Sure. And then how do you kind of monetize this right now? Do you guys take a cut or?
So yeah, we monetize Venue Viking by, offering the booking software as a subscription service. So it's a reoccurring subscription service, but then we also get paid on per booking by the number of guests in that party.
Okay. Very cool. So you basically handle everything from, the user signing, or like the person that wants to run the event, and then do you handle kind of once they get there, like their ticketing and kind of that kind of stuff as well?
So right now there isn't a ticketing feature associated with Venue Viking. It is a process that we do foresee down the road, especially if we get into the convention space and things like that. Right now we're really just targeting on restaurants with private dining. I think that's our niche right now. So we're going to really focus on that. And then as this thing evolves and develops, who knows where it's going to go.
Sure. And as you get more feedback from users and whatnot, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So as a user, how do I kind of use the tool? Like if I'm looking to go dine somewhere, what's the process around that?
Right. So you can simply go to venueviking.com and search the city that you're looking to plan an event in. It's going to give you our top venues, and you can search on there. But if you had a specific venue in mind, and you went to that venue's website and they were a part of Venue Viking, you'd also be able to go through the same simple booking process through the widget that's going to be on their website as well. Okay, very cool. Similar to kind of Open Table, that kind of thing. Yeah, correct. Okay, I got you. Okay. So I'm kind of curious then, where do you kind of see this going in the future, and kind of what cities are you in right now? And obviously you want to expand. Right. So, we launched the listing side of Venue Viking back in March. We're at 3,000 venues nationwide. Wow. We're in about 25 cities right now. Okay. For the booking software, we're just in our beta testing for that. We really want to start more targeted and more niche, probably local in the Tampa Bay area. We do have 3 restaurants already involved in the beta testing for the booking software. And as soon as all the kinks are worked out, we're definitely going to start in Tampa Bay and then move out from there. No, that's very cool. I like that idea where you basically built a version and you got a bunch of people using it, and then now you're kind of beta testing in an area, and then you're saying, well, we're going to tweak it and then start rolling that out, kind of nationwide. I think that's really important and kind of something to stress in the startup community. I think too many people try to build like every possible feature or like compartment or module or whatever you want to put of a product, right? And you got a version out there, and then you're adding as you're going and you're getting feedback. I think that's kind of super important. And kind of maybe how did you guys decide like what to roll out first, and kind of why you didn't roll out maybe that piece, until after, like maybe a version 2 or whatever? I think it comes down to as simple as, the listing portion of Venue Viking. It was easy. Okay. It was easy to develop, and it was easy to implement and get these venues in the system. And we weren't really looking to make that our product. We always knew the long-term goal was to have the booking software wrapped around it, but we thought, how could we start getting the word out about Venue Viking? How
Sure.
can we start getting the name out there and start having these conversations with venues before we even have, really a product? Right now we're just offering an advertising service, but now we have 3,000 venues a part of this advertising service that we can now reach back out to with our booking software.
Sure. No, I think that's really cool and an interesting way to like generate users and get people into the system. And I think that's really cool. So you're involved in EIP cards. Do you want to maybe talk about what exactly is that and kind of why you started that?
Yeah, so kind of goes back into how I, my career path and what changes and different developments it has taken. But when I started Venue Viking, I was on the road, telling people about it, and I end up meeting this gentleman that I'm now partnered with, and one of his companies is EIP Cards. So it's essentially a digital membership platform.
Okay.
That we are working on. So it's, in its beta testing now as well. But you'll definitely start to see it more and more as we roll this thing out. It's a really neat product, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Sure. So what exactly do you guys offer your members?
So basically it's, we created it around the restaurant and bar industry. So whereas if you're a VIP, instead of having to call, like as an owner of this bar or nightclub, instead of having to call your manager at the front door or your door guy or your bartenders and say, hey, my friend VIP Nick is coming in, make sure these things get done with him.
Sure.
I can now just issue him an EIP card. It's a digital card that he can show on his phone, and it lists all his benefits. And you can, you can add temporary benefits and then permanent benefits retroactively, so you can actually then draw clients or customers in that are card holders by simply just creating a new promotion and pushing it out.
Okay, so basically you could say if you come Wednesday night, you'll get a deal or 20% off or whatever the promotion is.
Correct.
Okay, that's actually really cool, because I know I'm trying to make my wallet as small as possible, and I want all my cards digitally, and I think it makes sense, right? Because then not only can I get these deals, but I don't have to carry a card around, because I think so many people just don't want physical cards anymore.
Yeah, and people and users could have multiple cards, so they could be members of multiple places in the area and go to whatever card they might be needing to use at that point in time. But you could literally use it for gym memberships. You could charge for the card, or you could give it out for free. So there's different ways to monetize the card from a venue aspect.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So when do you think it's going to come out of beta?
Yeah, we're just in the final stages of getting it tweaked and getting it implemented into some other venues. We've been using it personally in a company called Station House, and we can talk a little bit about that in a second. But we've been using it personally in-house, and it's been working really well. So we just a couple little things, and then we'll be launching it live to the general public and other facilities.
That's very cool. So I'm kind of curious to know, obviously you have all these kind of ventures going on. Are you doing the development yourself? Do you have like kind of a team of people doing development, or did you outsource it, or kind of how are you getting these things developed?
My developers for Venue Viking are actually friends of mine. I grew up with them in New Smyrna, and they've been helping me with Venue Viking ever since the beginning.
Okay.
And then for EIP cards, we have a development team as well. So.
Okay, very cool. So how you basically met your co-founder just traveling. How did you decide like he would be a good person to partner with on this venture?
I think it was the similarities between Venue Viking and EIP cards. I think there was a match there. We were after the same target market, and we really saw how each service could benefit itself, and if we were selling one, we could sell the other because it's the same people, and then maybe even someday sell them together as one product. So that's how the relationship started, and it's just evolved from there.
No, that's actually really cool. So where does your founder for EIP cards live then?
He lives in Tampa Bay as well.
Oh, okay. So you just happen to meet and you guys live in the same area. Okay. Yep. I was just curious.
St. Petersburg.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's really cool. So you also are involved in a consulting company. Do you want to maybe talk about kind of what that is and what your role is in that?
Yeah, so it's the same gentleman that owns the EIP cards. His background is in private equity, so he deals with all sorts of different types of deals, from tech startups to energy companies to real estate, commercial real estate properties. And when we started the initial talk about EIP and Venue Viking and how they could work great together, we we developed this relationship. We ended up becoming pretty close, and he needed some help on some other projects that he had going on, and asked if I could come on and help him out. So that's kind of how that started.
Okay, so is that your full-time kind of gig then, and Venue Viking and EIP cards is kind of side projects, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I mean, well, I can't say that. I mean, I think we spend equally amount of much time as, on each individual project a week. For me, I just don't sleep.
yeah, fair. No, I totally get that. No, I think that's important, right? I think so many people get told that they need to like quit their full-time job and like do something full-time, right? Where I don't see anything wrong with having a couple ventures and a couple things that you're involved in that you basically spread your week of time out, right? And I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I work full time, and then this radio show is kind of a side project, or, it takes up, a chunk of my weekly time, right? And I think it makes sense to kind of have a bunch of things that you're passionate about and want to go for, right?
Right. I just, for me, I'm just always about growing and learning new things, and, I did leave my full-time job to start Venue Viking for a while, and then, these other opportunities kind of fell in my lap, for lack of better words, and I had to take them, because It's just, it's all about the knowledge, and, it's more about, who and I try and branch out and meet as many people as I can, and develop relationships. And I think that's probably one of the most important things to like growing a business of any type, is your connections and how well connected you are in the community. I think it's super important.
So did you guys raise some money for Venue Viking, or did you kind of self-fund, or?
We primarily bootstrapped the entire project. We did receive a small amount of funding up front just to get us started. We will be starting a seed round here shortly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about EIP cards? Is your business partner kind of funding that?
Yeah, my business partner is pretty much funding that. We're in a good place right now. So, basically all the development and all these things are pretty much done. So now it's, up to just these little tweaks and to go start selling it. So
sure. So I'm kind of curious, when you guys, in your consulting job, what do you guys kind of do, and what types of clients do you usually work with?
Yeah, so we work with all sorts of companies, but, we work with all sorts of different clients. One of the projects we're focused on right now is a building called the Station House. It's in downtown St. Pete. And what we did there is we created an ecosystem of businesses and tech with a restaurant and coffee tea bar, all within this 5-story building. We offer memberships to it, but you can also come in as an individual and work and network. And it's just it's a great ecosystem to meet and network and build your business. And through that, we have met tons of different companies needing, assistance and consulting. And that's kind of where, we came along and just started helping, different companies through that process. Sure.
No, I think that's really cool. So what made you guys decide to kind of start Station House?
Station House was my co-founder, he, was a passion of his. He bought the building. He originally was going to make it a hotel.
Okay.
But then he started, he has family in New York, so he started going to some of these bigger all-inclusive ecosystems like the Ace Hotel, and
Sure.
and the WeWorks were popping up here and there, and he really liked that model. And that's kind of, what gave him the idea to do this. And St. Pete has a bunch of tech startups coming out of it, and just different businesses starting up all over the place, and there isn't anything like it
Sure.
over there. So he thought it would be a good fit, and so far it's been a great success. We've leased out all our office space. We're building members right now. We're doing founding member specials, and everything's going really good.
So obviously there's a really good tie with EIP cards into that and kind of the member loyalty stuff, but what other services do you guys kind of like? What's a base package, and then kind of the different packages that I can get at Station House?
Yeah, so basically the basic package is the individual package, and it gets you access to the building between 9 to 5. We have a private level just for members only on the 4th floor. It's an outdoor terrace where we offer just space for people to work out of, Wi-Fi. You get discounts on the coffee, tea, discounts in our restaurant.
Sure.
You get a locker so you can get your mail forwarded there.
Oh, nice.
And things like that. So it's very business oriented, but it gives, startups and people that don't have money to necessarily pay for an office suite in the downtown area, to have a place to work out of now and call their home.
Sure. I think that's really cool. And you kind of mentioned the networking. I think that's super important too. Like just being around other people, kind of doing something, even if it's in a completely different industry, you guys are all going through kind of the same issues, like payroll and software for that, and like what do you use for this, or how do you handle that, or and I think just having a group of people around you day to day that just to say like, you guys had this problem a few months ago, like I'm here now, like what, how have you found kind of just having people around, kind of help each other?
Well, that's the beauty of it all. I mean, the reality of it is the tech industry needs businesses. They need attorneys. They need CPAs. They need a banker, and then those companies need tech companies to keep their business, going. So it really is a neat thing to see when you see these companies within the building connecting with each other and getting help from one another. It's really neat.
Sure. No, totally. So you said you're full right now. But are you guys looking to potentially expand then if it's doing that well?
Well, when I say full, I mean the office space is all full.
Oh, okay.
So we have plenty of room to grow in memberships. So we are still driving our memberships. We're looking for corporate sponsors and things like that to be a part of the building and come, because we do have conference rooms and things like that, so people can host meetings there. So yeah, full in a sense that we out of office space.
Okay. So how many people again are in this space at Station House right now?
Yeah, so we have 14 office tenants, and then we have about 40 members right now. We also have a yoga program that they have their own memberships as well. So, there's just a bunch going on within the Station House.
So you offer kind of yoga. What other programs do you guys kind of offer there?
So we do yoga. We have a TRX instructor that comes in. We have a room, we call it the Do Things room, where people can come in and do yoga or TRX or Pilates or, whatever. And we try and find these instructors with an entrepreneurial spirit to come in, rent the space from us monthly and have a membership. And then they charge their clients whatever they charge normally or whatever they want to do. So it's given people an opportunity to become business owners.
Sure. No, I think that's really cool. So I'm kind of curious to know, you have a bunch of these ventures going on and, you've partnered with people. What kind of advice would you give people kind of looking to start something, that are a little scared because you quit your full-time job to do this and then you kind of ended up getting another kind of job and you're doing all this stuff? Like, what kind of advice would you give people looking to kind of just do their own thing and just go for it?
I'm a firm believer you got to take the risk to get the rewards, right? And, these opportunities come up for a reason. So I feel like, you got to take them while they're there, and again, it goes back to just meeting people and growing your network and just becoming a part of your community that you're currently in. Get other people behind you, because, as soon as you can validate, your idea or whatever it might be with, some other community members or some like-minded individuals, the more power you're going to have to, go out and, get this thing started.
Sure. So you mentioned kind of networking. How have you found ways to network that have been successful for you? Like online, offline, kind of both?
A little of both. I love going to networking events and just meeting. I mean, most communities have, a ton of different, groups through the chamber or whatever it might be. I find one of my personal favorites is 1 Million Cups. I don't know if you ever heard of it before.
No, but what is it for people that don't know, like myself?
Yeah, it's a company, or actually it's not a company. It's a program created by the Kaufman Company. They're somewhere located in the Midwest. But basically, they created this thing called 1 Million Cups. It's a nationwide event. It's every Wednesday. It's in different communities all around the nation at 9 a.m. And it's two entrepreneurs get up and speak and pitch their business to the local community. And it's a big networking event, afterwards. So it's a great way to kind of solidify an idea if you have one, because anyone can get up there and pitch. It could be, just an idea phase, or it could be or it could be a company that's generating income. So they take all sorts of different kinds of companies, and it's just a way for you to get out in front of it, validate your idea, and then meet with your local community.
So I pitch my idea, and then do I kind of take questions from the audience and get feedback, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like I said, they do 2 presentations every week, and you get 6 minutes to present, and then there's a 20-minute Q&A.
Okay, very cool. And then obviously during the networking event, people can come up to you and ask you, is it usually try to like pitch to investors, or it's just kind of pitch to anybody and they'll just give you your feedback?
Yeah, it's not really meant to be for investors. It's really more just it's just a way for you to get comfortable with pitching in front of people. And also, the community, the people in your community always have good feedback.
Sure.
So that's what it's more for, getting feedback and hearing if your idea is, it's more about just getting feedback.
Sure. No, but I think that's super important, right? And getting up in front of people and just saying like, here's my idea. What do you guys think? That gives it gives a good venue for that. Right. And I think a lot of people don't really know, right? And just having something to go to weekly. And if people know, if you go weekly and after a few months, you're going to know a bunch of people there. You're probably more likely to get up in front of kind of your colleagues, really, and pitch something, right? Instead of you just pitching in front of a bunch of strangers, you're basically pitching to a bunch of people you already know, or at least some of the people in the audience, correct? Like, it sounds like you go all the time.
Yeah, I try to go regularly. And I've pitched at multiple different cities. I pitched in St. Pete, Tampa, Orlando, Daytona Beach has one, Miami has one. I mean, they're all over the place, and I pitched at 5 different ones. And every time I do it, I always get valuable feedback and meet some cool, interesting people.
So, what was the reason you decided to go to other cities to pitch at their thing? Just to get feedback?
Yeah, for me, it was more of a practice. It's like a practice run for the real thing. So when I do have that opportunity to talk to an investor, or I do have that opportunity to do this pitch competition, I feel like I'm prepared.
Sure, that's actually really important. You're basically practicing your public speaking, right, in front of people that you know. And yeah, you're right. That makes sense. When you're actually pitching in front of investors, you can work on your pitch in front of people. And then I'm sure you could ask, like, okay, what resonated well, what didn't resonate, that kind of thing, right? And just get feedback from the audience.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's actually really interesting. So I'm curious, do you go to any other kind of networking events on a regular basis?
Yeah, I mean, I try to go to a bunch of chamber events. I have a friend, he has a company called Newtown Connections. He's just based in Tampa Bay right now. But it's a great company for people just moving into the area. He hosts a ton of different networking events, so I love going to his stuff.
Okay. No, that's very cool. I think that's the thing that I think a lot of people struggle with, is actually just networking and meeting people. And it sounds like, and I would put myself in the same boat, that you got a lot of the things and you've moved forward in your career just by networking in a lot of cases, right? Like you met a co-founder, that could tie into your current business. You got kind of another gig. And so basically I'm in the same boat, right? That it was just, we put ourselves out there and just kind of just let things happen, right? And it seemed to work really good for you.
Yeah, again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. The more people you meet, the better off you're going to be. I firmly believe that. So
sure, no, I 100% agree. So I'm curious though, do you do any kind of online networking? Like, have you found any success with Twitter or LinkedIn or any other social networks?
Me personally, I haven't done much. I mean, I have a girl that does it for me.
Okay.
But me personally, I haven't done a lot in the social media realm. I do feel it's very important, and I do have someone that helps me with that. But I never really got into the whole social media thing. So I wouldn't know the right things to post and the right times to post them, and what hashtags to use when.
Sure.
So I leave it to someone else to do, and she does a great job. She actually helped me line up this podcast with you today, but she, so I think it's very important. But me personally, I don't spend a lot of time with it.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
I think that's good advice, because I was doing my own for a number of years now, and I have a girl helping me with it as well. And it's been extremely beneficial to me and the show. And like you said, like we connected through Twitter basically, and it's awesome, right?
Right.
But sometimes too, at a certain point, you don't have time for it. Like I don't have time to, like I still tweet and I still reply back to people, but I don't handle a lot of the like common posts all the time, just because, like you said, it's hard to come up with hashtags and be relevant, and like it's just something I can't wrap my head around sometimes.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, and especially if you have a specific brand you're trying to get across. You don't want multiple people posting multiple different things for you, or you randomly just posting random stuff, because you want to uphold your brand standards. And I think that it's really important to have someone good, and it's a full-time job. So if you can't afford to get someone, I think that that's one of the more important things to
Sure.
have and pay for.
Sure, and I think the other thing too is you don't necessarily need somebody full time. You can pay for X amount of hours a month, and they'll just
Right.
kind of handle it for you. But for me, it's been life-saving and time-saving for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michael, maybe we'll close the show with kind of promoting where people can find your different ventures online, and if you want to promote anything personally as well.
Yeah, of course. So obviously, if you're planning an event or you're looking to book an event, go to venueviking.com. You can also find me on Facebook or follow me on Twitter. It's Venue _Viking. You can also check out Station House if you're ever in St. Pete. We'd love to see you in the building. There's a lot of different programs going on through the facility. We have a lot to offer throughout the building. The food's excellent in our restaurant. You can visit stationhousestpete.com to find out more information about that. EIP, you can go to eipcards.com to learn any more information about that. Again, that's a digital membership platform that we'll be launching here shortly. Yeah, I think that's it. I have a beautiful wife at home. She didn't get to come with me today, but I wish she would have. I feel like more people would have came to my booth if she was here.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe.
Cool. Well, thanks again for doing this, and I look forward to kind of following what happens with you guys over the coming year. Thanks for listening. The music for the show was done by Electric Mantra. You can check them out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.